Here they are. Your host of the Table Talk, James, and your co-host, Jazz.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am James. And this is the Table Talk with James and Jazz. As you guys know, in the news recently, it's been another police brutality. But on this hand, it is not just Caucasian officers, it is also African-American officers. So when I asked my co-host what did we want to talk about today, she said police brutality. So that's what we are going to talk about. And that is one of the things that has been on the top of our list for this week. Jazz, you have something you want to share on opening with this?
Yes, so this is a big thing. Police brutality is going on all over the country. And it's been really ridiculous in the USA. Police just feel like they could do whatever they want.
Before we do start, Jazz, I want to play this clip with everybody, if you don't mind. It's Reverend Al Sharpton. Can you still see me, Jazz, and hear me?
Yes, I can see you and hear you.
Okay. Reverend Al Sharpton said something in a news conference this weekend, and I want to start the show up, if I may, with this clip. It's about 1 minute and 33 seconds.
Scorpion unit, and they have these special units in several cities. Now, if the units are set up to deal with especially egregious crimes, then why are you dealing with an alleged traffic violation in the first place? Special unit don't deal with speed. But then the police chief said that they've looked at the tapes, they can't even find evidence of him recklessly driving. So you just arbitrarily decide you're going to pull this guy over and start dealing with this, then none of the police, and none of them that even arrived, acted as though they were even in any way, shape, or form questioning them. They start piling on. I'm glad you got him. Cheering them on. Every one of them needs to face the law of justice. We need to examine and break down all these special units across this country. We need to stop empowering these units that are undefined and feel like they can do whatever they want to do.
And that right there, Jazz, that to me is an open show. To hear a Reverend Al Sharpton speak again and again and again and again and again at all of these different African American young males being targeted by the police. And it's not just Caucasian police. It's police, period. It is like an all-in-out, right. It's an all-in-out assault on our young men and women. Now, here's the kicker. So the Memphis police on Saturday announced it would permanently deactivate its Scorpion unit after officers in the unit were fired and faced charges in the death of Tyree Nichols. According to a statement from the police director, Davis. Now, Police law enforcement officials, they released disturbing footage of this fatal beating of Nicholas, a 29-year-old, black male who died 3 days after. Now, this was on January 2nd. We're January the what? The 30th.
And we just found it out.
Yeah. Because it's newsworthy. It's soundbite quality, as they would call it. But folks, how long do we have to keep going on with our young men and women being attacked on either side? I don't know. Yes.
Okay. Police brutality, state violence, human rights, abuse, and violations is excessive and unwarranted use of force by law enforcement against an individual or a group. It is an extreme form of police misconduct and is a civil right violation to be protected by the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution. And countries with high rates of... You ready? You want to say something?
But again, the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, the Bill of Rights. Go ahead, Jess. We're going to get back to that.
In countries with high rates of killing by police, there is often a combination of factors including inadequate laws, racial or other forms of discrimination, insecurity, or conflict. In 2022, police violence counted at least 1,176 individuals killed, making it the deadliest year on record. The U.S. police has killed more people compared to any other industrialized democracy, with a disproportionate number of people shot being people of color. Police brutality affects society with depression and anxiety. Regardless of race, police brutality also disproportionately impacts minoritized groups such as Latinos and especially Black kings and queens. In the 1960s, activists such as Angela Davis advocate for defunding of police departments. Not only has police brutality exposed hidden racism, but it has begun to cause separation in our nation.
So, are you
You can go. I have more.
Listen, I know you got more. So listen, here's my thing. This is the thing that pisses me off, and it gets political. Black people, we cannot enforce laws if we can't stick together.
Right.
You're joining these task forces, these police departments, these to get, quote unquote, better for your family. But you're becoming the scapegoat to all of this formulated shit piled upon each other. And guess what? You're sinking in the middle of it. We're going out here, we're voting for these presidents. Barack Obama was the first African-American president of the United States history, but he also had the highest rate of African-Americans that was killed on his watch. Folks, we got to get more political with this. It's all a set up type of chessboard where if we can't get them this way, we're going to get them that way.
Right.
Good old boy structure. And African Americans are weak-minded still. Those who are only worried about what's in right now instead of what's going on in the world, what's going on in policy right now. All of this is happening because of misinformation, miseducation, misdirection, and it all starts at home.
Right. I
don't know when our people, I don't have none of this shit written down Because this is stuff that I've heard of all of my life. And I keep wondering why. Oh, black people keep saying, what's going on, what's going on? What's going on is you guys are not part of the process. You're part of the problem. When you get a part of the process, meaning, i.e. parents, 18-year-olds, register to fucking vote. Put the right people in office. Start making decisions that's going to protect you. Stop being the old school. Be the new school. You see how them white folks, they went and they protested and they created a muck. January 6th, it's coming down the pike for us. They're showing you they're still in control of this country. And they're turning their own fucking people against each other. As they did in the beginning of the time. If we're going to talk about that. Light-skinned Africans sold the dark-skinned Africans. That's what began the slave trade. They set the traps for the white man. It's going on right here in front of our fucking face. We don't need no freaking talking points. This is a get real, get with yourself type of stuff. We're all human. We all still do what we do. But it's within reason. And we have to start taking this thing, go ahead, Jazz, because I'll go on a rant on this girl.
All of these police brutality cases, such as Kevin Hargraves, DeMonte Ward Blake, Tyree Nichols, Rodney King, Alton Sterling, Mike Brown, and Trayvon Martin, just to name a few, all have happened over the past years, and they were all documented on camera, exposing the reality to millions around the world. The conflict did not stop at the shooting, though. Many big-name athletes have stood up for this altercations and asked for attention. These actions of severe beating, fatal choking, and unjustified shootings have caused an outburst from the minority communities. The media contributes to police brutality by leaving some stories untold or even change it, which then leaves a false impression for the readers. The media only reports on certain things and often ignores crime against Black. The media has been accused of reporting on fake news or even not reporting on some serious crimes constantly. Police brutality has significantly indirect effects on mental health in the Black community by breeding mistrust in the institutions meant to keep us safe. Ultimately, because police departments are not restricted by the international law, the use of deadly force in the U.S. is not confined to the last resort scenarios, which result in killing of a number of unarmed individuals by police every year, generating more public health concerns, particularly in the Black community. People who have experienced police... go ahead.
So, one thing is, when it comes to the Black community, it's called racial profiling, also called ethnic profiling. It's a discriminatory practice by law officials that are still allowed to govern other police officers. In racial profiling, law enforcement officers target individuals as suspects in a crime based on the individual's race, ethnicity, religion, or national origin, according to the American Civil Liberties Union. Now, for example, our police department might use race to determine who can stop for minor traffic offenses, as this one, or jaywalking. Racial profiling is at play when enforcement officers target Asians or Middle Easterns or Muslims, immigrants, for decision without any evidence. We're talking about beforehand. The court does not consider traffic stop by racial profiling if police have probable cause to make the stop. So these motherfuckers can make up issues to give it probable cause. Well, these ones got caught. It also says that it cannot consider racial profiling if the person fits a complete description of a crime suspect, such as Hispanic male, 5'9" tall, wearing blue jeans and a red t-shirt, and have a top red Nike sneaker on, which is pretty vague. Now, for the purpose of determining whether racial profiling has occurred, law enforcement can include local and state police and federal law enforcement in all agencies. Racial profiling also refers to an instance when law officers refuse to act to prevent crimes solely based on race, such as when a police officer fails to respond to reports of violence against black families in a white neighborhood, or to prevent the lynching of African Americans. Racial profiling also is a fact of life. For who? More than half of the black men in the United States told a Pew Research Center the survey that police have stopped them unfairly. About 31% of African American women says have unfairly stopped them. And then the darker a person's skin, the more likely they're experiencing this racial profiling. What did I say? That the lighter Africans are serving off the blacker ones. It's all over again. So, a 2021 Pew Report Center study revealed that 16% of Hispanic adults who have darker skin reported that they had been unfairly stopped by police in 12 months prior. In March of 2021, they opposed it by 8%, saying that it didn't happen. Well, the American Civil Liberties Union is reporting that they were reporting it. But it's still going on. Look at the skin color of this young man compared to most of those officers that were arrested. Like Reverend Al said, what the hell was they doing? What was he doing there? Some of them, because you're in a special unit. I don't get it. Go ahead.
I'm doing something. People who have experienced police violence have few options for redress because they must report incidents to the same police department that originally harmed them. Police are authorized to use force in a wide variety of situations, and victims have to prove that the violence was not reasonable or unjustified. Because there are few avenues available to report an incident, obtain legal resources and advocacy services, or receive referrals to mental health treatments, any mental health effects impacted individuals have may worsen over time. Police violence is stigmatizing because police have the discretion to use force in many situations, but survivors of police violence are often blamed for the encounter. The actions of survivors of the police violence are often heavily scrutinized and fought to justify officers' actions, especially by members of or groups that benefits the social order policing oppose. Moreover, many people have friends and relatives who work as police officers, making it feel like a betrayal to report incidents of police violence. As in many areas, when it comes to Black people and mental health in the United States, they experience disproportionate negative impacts. Black people are more likely to experience chronic and persistent mental health conditions for a number of reasons. These include affordability and lack of access to services of Black mental health professionals, racism, and mistrust of the medical system.
Wow.
Additionally, the historical adversity that Black people have experienced, from slavery to segregation to police violence, has also created disparities that are directly linked to mental health outcomes. Mental health experts have previously established a causal link between racism and an increase in depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and suicide amongst Black youth and adults. Additionally, Black people living below the poverty line are twice as likely to report serious psychological stress than those living 2 times above the poverty line.
Now, what is police brutality? Is what they're trying to say isn't going on. The term police brutality is sometimes used to refer to various human rights violations by police. This may include beating, racial abuse, unlawful killing, torture, or discriminate, use of riot-controlled agents at protests. Why is police brutality a human rights issue? At its worst, unlawful use of force by police can result in being deprived of their right to life. If police force is unnecessary or excessive, it may also amount to torture or other ill treatment. The other ill treatment is what we got going on today in our country. And it's widespread. There's so many agencies that are out here supposedly being watchdogs, but they're still not doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's frightful for a Black man to even pull over, at a police stop and not have other people around. Because, again, I guess we're in season again for the police. And I think it's disproportionately so that we have to keep, hearing these young men pass away. Pete, what you doing, honey? That's Jasmine's little girl, y'all. Don't worry about that. I told you Jasmine's mother, honey. What's these mom? But, Jazz, it's bad. Like we were talking, before the show. His friend. There's a lot of untold stories in America that you don't hear about. And
Yes, there's many more people that we don't even know about. Like I said, the media covers it up.
Mm-hmm.
They hear about it, but they don't post everything. They just post stuff to that they want everybody to know. To sidetrack from what's going on in the world. Right. It's all a game.
Exactly. That's all it is. It's a big chessboard. But we have to start checkmating. They're checkmating. They're retraining our own to go after our own. Just to keep their job. Status quo. So then, the history of racial profiling has existed as long as police departments and people of color have coexisted in the United States. It gained public attention in 1990s with a New Jersey court case, State versus Pedro. Evidence in that case showed that the drivers of colored were stopped for traffic violations on the New Jersey Turnpike at much greater rate than white people. Based on the evidence, the judge ruled that state police had been illegally targeting African Americans on the turnpike. That was for years. Now, a similar case also occurred in Maryland with the same result. Wilkins versus Maryland State. Federal, another charge was gone. Now, the study found that only 17% of the interstate driving population in Maryland were black, but 72% of those who were stopped were black. Now, another famous case subjected stop and frisk protocol, and I remember that shit. I was in high school when they were starting this again, the stop and frisk bullcrap. The court had held up the stop and frisk searches, which were linked to a widespread racial profiling and harassment, much be warranted by illegal. So now in New York, Judge Shira has also held that the New York State stop and frisk policy was a violation of the Equal Rights Clause of the 14th Amendment. So now what is the difference between racial profiling and criminal profiling? Racial profiling relies on stereotypes about race, the ethnicity, ancient history, and all that good stuff. On the other hand, criminal profiling relies on actual behavior or information about suspected activity by someone who meets a description of a suspect. Now, courts have held that racial profiling is a violation of the Equal Rights Clause of the 14th Amendment, again, to the Constitution of the United States. Now, criminal profiling is legal and lawful, and the law enforcement agencies use it to investigate crimes. Police brutality, goddamn it, is not somebody investigating a crime or someone investigating an assault.
Right. So basically what's going on, it seems, is if when the calls come in, it's certain officers that I guess had a bad day or whatever is the ones that's answering the call first. Like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm waiting for a crime, you know, because it says on one of these reports that more
Listen, I listened to the 26 minutes. The fat bitch was probably mad because he was out of breath. The motherfucker, Jazz, he was saying it like this. I should play it. I should play it for you. For 26 minutes, they were trying to get this boy. So one day was mad because the boy ran off on them because the boy knew what the fuck they were getting ready to do that. They was beating the boy.
Like, what are you doing? Why am I getting out my car? What's going on?
He was laying on the ground. The one police officer was holding his hand this way. Now he's facing this way. And the other police officer was trying to put the other hand down. Moving in motherfucking there. By the grace of God, he got away for that little bit of moment to get a running chance to try to save his life. That's a goddamn shame. That's just like, that's, you know what I'm saying? They was lynching their own kind.
Right. So look, it says more than 2 million 911 calls in 2 U.S. cities. White officers dispatched to black neighborhoods fired their guns 5 times as often as black officers dispatched for similar calls to the same neighborhoods. So pretty much it seems like they go to the neighborhoods where it's probably gun violence. And the young guy, Tyree, who just was killed by 5 other black officers, that was terrifying. And to see how his mom reacted and how she didn't even want to see the video. If I was her, I wouldn't want to see it either, because it'll just make you bring hatred, you know, like, and then it's your own people who was doing it, and to know where we come from and segregation and all that good stuff. So I don't even understand it. But when you become a police officer in today's age and everything that's going on, it seems as if they are pushing, when they have meetings, they're pushing them to kill. Whether you have to kill them with your hands or pull out your gun and shoot them, that's what they're telling them to do. Because ain't nobody just coming out just to see what happened. So basically that night with that boy, they didn't even get a call because he didn't even do anything wrong. They was just outside looking for trouble, and they used their law enforcement. They basically tried to intimidate him, and when he ran and they had to chase him, they didn't even have to chase him. They could have just let him run and just left.
It was like 2 neighborhoods over.
The whole video, nothing. They never explained why they was pulling him over, what he did wrong. They just beat him up.
Hold
That
on,
was
bro.
the point.
Let me find the video, and I will share it with you. I don't give a damn about the time because we're recording this. I will
Yes,
share
we
you.
need to share the video, and I want you to share the video where his mom was explaining what she seen when she got to the hospital. She said that her son head was swollen like a watermelon, like super big. His neck was bleeding. His nose was an S shape. This is ridiculous. And it's just him that got beaten by police. Like, it's bad. It's bad.
I'm gonna see how all these screens with you, girl. Because this is something that needs to be talked about. Why it needs to be talked about.
Yes, and that's why we have the table talk to bring this stuff to the forefront.
Right, we're gonna take a little. I'm gonna shut my camera off while I do this and pull this up real quick and play them some music, honey. Because this is a conversation that we're going to continue to have, and I'm going to upload this, Jazz. All of this is going to be uploaded because this is a conversation, folks. This is how you should be at home with your family, having these conversations. Get fucking heated at the table. Get into the fucking political arena.
Because even though it wasn't your family, this can or will happen to your family. So we need to treat everybody like they are our family. All of these examples of stuff that they would do to you and your son and your grandson and your daughter and your mom. They don't care what age you are. The color of your skin is what rages these cops. And it's even black people. Black cops been beaten and killing too. But it hasn't been on the forefront. Now that it is, any cop, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, any cop is out there to kill. So they're not protecting us. They're not they're not taking the law serious. They basically like, I'm the law. I can do what I want to do. If I come to the scene and you getting smart with me, then I could kill you. I can do what I want, and then I'll just cover it up. They've been covering things up for quite some time now.
Long time, honey. A long time. A long time, girl. I'm looking for a video right now. I'm going to play y'all this song. Listen.
Another thing is they don't pay your family until the person that they brutally insulted or beat to death is dead. That's when they'll give you the money. But the money doesn't mean anything to me now because my family member is gone. I'll never see them again. But never exchange for life.
Right. They're totally gone off of this world. And what am I going to do? They're dead. And
money is the root. They think that that's going to please the family. No, they'll never see their family member again, ever in their living life.
That's over. Jam off to this, girl. I got to get this video.